Nice. That's how we're introing. Hey, everybody, I'm White. That lovely burp was Meta. She's going to introduce herself because this is her channel.
Hey, fuck you. What a shitty way to intro. Fine, whatever. I'm Meta. Welcome to my channel. Let's talk about art.
Look, you've been pussyfooting around it for like the last 10 minutes.
Hey. It's only been 9 minutes and 45 seconds, okay?
Look, okay, that doesn't... It's been 10 minutes. So we're gonna intro... That's how we're introing it. It's gonna be a slam intro. We're gonna just go for it, alright?
Yeah, fine. Let's jump into it.
Let's all jump into it.
Let's just jump right into it. Alright.
So off of that train wreck...
Alright. Let's go. Let's do this.
Alright. So, what do you... Well, still train wreck. Cool.
I set the mood.
Oh man! All
so,
right, that's the whole video.
So, what do you know about Dragon Ball?
Me personally,
yes.
Not a whole lot. I used to watch it a little bit as a kid, but it's not something I was ever like super interested in. I think I only really watched up maybe a little past the Frieza arc. I've seen a bit of the Cell arc, and stuff like that, but not a whole lot. Obviously, you probably know a lot more about it than me.
Probably a fuck ton more than you.
Yeah, you started out with Dragon Ball and drawing characters from Dragon Ball and other happy stuff. So why don't you tell people about that?
I didn't actually draw Dragon Ball stuff until I was a bit older, because I started off with I think. Spider-Man, I think, was the first thing I tried to draw.
Mm-hmm. And what prompted the change from Spider-Man's to Dragon Ball?
I don't know. I was a kid. I thought it was cool. I was probably I think probably around I want to say fucking maybe 7 when I started drawing or something like that. I don't know for sure. I was real young when I started drawing.
Okay. And what kind of prompted the start of drawing as a whole?
Okay.
Segues.
My dad, he's an artist, so growing up watching him draw made me want to draw.
All right.
You know how
I got you. Yeah. No. Not kind of. Not with the drawing bit, but
well, you see an adult doing something cool, and you're like, "Oh, can I do that?" And you try, and it's like, "Oh, I can't, but I can sure try to do it."
So I know a lot of people, especially starting out, don't really draw well. What kind of gave you the motivation to keep going? Was it still your dad, drawing and encouraging you, or?
To be honest, he wasn't super encouraging. He was more like, do what you like, and I'll be in the corner doing what I like, and we just do what we like at the same time, type thing.
Context.
Yeah. My motivation to draw has just always been there. It's always been part of my life.
Fair enough. And do you consider yourself very creative as a person, or?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm pretty creative.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, when you're drawing, you gotta be creative in some ways. For a while when I was a teenager, I struggled a lot with the idea of, having a unique idea, because everything's been done before, and when you get older, and you really start thinking about it, it's it doesn't really fucking matter at the end of the day, because everybody's aware that everything's been done before, so the only thing holding you back is yourself.
Mm-hmm. So why? Wow, that's a train wreck of a question. All right, we'll try this again. So in terms of art, have you ever really done anything in other mediums? So I know you do a lot of digital art and things of that nature, but have you ever done anything in, like, say, physical media or something of that nature?
Nothing physical for a long time. Like I like drawing like on paper I haven't done in a while, and last time I did like physical art, like crafting something from like clay or something, was in school, you know. But the last thing, I actually still have the thing I made in school. It's like this like an Egyptian, one of those like Egyptian things where they like put like the organ, like one of the organs into.
Yeah.
And
It's like a pot.
yeah, and I use it to put my change into. I'm really respecting the ancient Egyptian culture.
Always.
But yeah, other than that, like that's just like for physical art. And then like I actually made a mod. It's not physical physical art, but it is a different medium. And it was actually of Xiira, as it happens. For Xenoverse 2. Took, oh my god, it took a year to make, because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And
Always.
like, I don't mean to throw shade at at that community, but you know, they weren't the best of fucking help in the world. They really, like, to be fair, they were doing their own things probably. They were probably making their own mods. But like, I just remember being really fucking annoyed with them at times where it's like, I'd be like, hey, can anybody like help me out with this? Like, just show me how it's done so I can just move on. But then they'd be like, nah, if I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna just fucking do it for you. And it's like, well, I'm not gonna learn anything from that. And they're like, I don't care. So
Wow.
a year of making that mod, and I learned basically nothing. Like, I learned how to make models, really, and that was it. And like, even those models weren't very good. It was like mishmashes of different stuff that I found.
Right.
Yeah. And then like the mod came out, and it was, you know, it wasn't a disaster, but it wasn't well received. Like, I think I got like 4 stars, and it's like, after a year of work, 4 stars is like, you know, like,
Yeah.
that was a year of my life that I dedicated to this, and it was fucking worthless. You know, people didn't seem to appreciate it at all.
Such is the modding life.
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm aware that like people like, it doesn't really matter in the end of the day. Like, I moved on. Like, people just, like, it just didn't resonate with people. And also, like, certain aspects of the mod weren't great because I didn't really get the appropriate help for certain things that I really, really needed. But I actually, one of my friends was playing Xenoverse recently, and I was like, hey, you should download my mod. And they did, and they said that Xiira is the only NPC that they put in their group that actually like helps them and like is decent, and that made me feel good.
All right then.
Yeah.
Well, we should probably move on from shitting on the Xenoblade modding community, as
I mean, I don't mean to shit on
I don't know
them.
what
It's just
I don't know what
they
the
weren't.
overlap is. Yeah.
They weren't very. They just were busy. You know. They didn't. They had their own shit to deal with. I'm guessing. I got help from a lot of really good people there. You know. Like, I got help from this guy Curtis. I still talk to him every so often. I met some really nice people. I also met some not so nice people. But like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't say that the community itself is bad. It's just that the people in the community didn't handle my requests for assistance very well. Is how I'd describe that whole situation. You know?
Yeah. I got you.
So what am I doing? Am I? No, I don't reference what's going on the screen, because I might edit this and then it'll be out of sync, and I'll fucking hate myself.
Yeah, we gotta cut that whole last part too. The Xenoblade community and the overlap with this video. So,
Why?
I'm just,
It's completely thematic.
I'm just giving you shit.
Fuck you.
No.
Yeah. So Xiira was my first OC, as you know. So naturally, she was the one that I really wanted to make the mod of, and like, obviously, I really love the character. Otherwise, I wouldn't have put a year of my life into trying to bring her to life.
Right. And I know the answer to this question, but for the people who don't know, where did Xiira kind of come from?
Okay, so Xiira was an OC of mine when I was, I want to say 18. I wasn't quite out of, like, I didn't really learn how OCs cause cringe for a while, you know?
Yeah.
Like, I understood that OCs could be cringy if done wrong, but I had no idea how to do them right. I just assumed I was doing it right. So naturally, Xiira was an OC for Dragon Ball, who was the daughter of Dabura, but also she was I had an idea for her to make her more unique, and that idea was that she would go, at some point she'd go to Hell, which is different from where her father came from, because he looks like Satan, and he's basically Satan, but he's from a place called the Demon Realm, which isn't the same as Hell. The idea that I had was for her to go to Hell and like absorb the like sins or the souls there or whatever, and become like a female Janemba. So when her first concept was bad, because she was two things. She was female Dabura and female Janemba at the same time.
Right.
It's not good. But she evolved over time. At some point I had the idea to make like the true demon goddess form for her, which was going to be like this huge like thing for like because back when I was doing that, Dragon Ball Super was a thing, and I was trying to be like, you know, up to date with like the power scaling, right?
Right.
So Xiira, her initial power like set, like her like power level, I guess, would be like around cell level, because that's the level that Dabura was at. So I figured, you know, she's his daughter, she might just be a little bit weaker than him, you know. But with the addition of Janemba powers, she'd be she'd be on the tier of like a Super Saiyan god, and that's where that came from. And then the true demon goddess was supposed to be her version of Ultra Instinct. I should note that I hate Ultra Instinct.
So there was a bit of a power issue there.
Yeah, I was trying to just keep her up to date with the power scaling, you know? And like the true demon goddess form I designed for the for the Xenoverse mod. And it looked cool, but it looked like it didn't look like I couldn't draw it, you know? Because it was so video gamey, you know? Like it looked like a design that you'd do for a video game, because I was designing it for a video game, right? And I was just going off of well, it seems like the video is frozen on our end. Great. Is it frozen for you?
Yeah, just keep it going. About to.
Yeah. What was I saying? Where was I at?
Something about the power scaling and the model, that you couldn't draw it because it was super video gamey.
Right. So basically, like that design, like I tried to draw it at some point, but it just didn't work out. Like I had designed it as I just looks. Wow, what the? Never seen this happen.
Or you got a space. That could be an issue.
No, I got like 200 gigabytes. What the hell is happening? Oh, there we go. Okay. So,
The design was too video gamey.
yeah, I had to redesign it mid-draw, and as I did, I realized that like I fucking hated the design. It was so bad. I'll probably throw like a picture of the design up like now, so that people at home can know what it looks like. Like it looks cool for like a video game, but for like a character who I'm supposed to be able to draw, it was like it's so over designed, it's so over complicated, you know, there's so much to it that's like lacks sense, you know. And like I just fucking hated it. and like after a certain point I just decided to myself, you know, I'm not fucking drawing this ever again. Fucking True Demon Goddess form of Xiira is gone. It's no longer like in my mental canon, you know.
Not a thing anymore.
Yeah.
Scattered on the winds.
Yeah, I might like do like an iteration on it at some point eventually, but like that design and that scale of power is like gone. I'm not I have no interest in getting anywhere near Dragon Ball Super level of power, because Dragon Ball Super's power scaling is so outrageous that I can't even take it seriously anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so
So, staying on the topic of Xiira or Zara, however you say it. You told me
Xiira.
what that was. Xiira. I've noticed, at least, and it's pretty easy to notice, that there's been a huge change in her kind of character design. She went from kind of being like almost muscular in a sense to where apparently she is now. So, is there any like logic behind the design decision to reduce things down?
You say that as if she's not fairly muscular in this design.
Oh, it used to be worse. Like
she used, well, nah, she used to look more mature. If I messed with her face a bit, if I like brought her eyelids down a bit and like maybe like thickened her up just a slight bit, she'd be the same as those other designs. The thing is that like her design is her like character design is this way because that's just how I draw naturally. Like the more like, cause like whenever I drew like those first pictures of her where she was like really like tall and muscular, like I wasn't drawing naturally, you know? I was doing something. I was trying to mimic a style, and that wasn't my style, you know? So like, and that's how I kind of like started on like the doing my digital artwork, was just doing like fan art and like trying to replicate the art style of like Akira Toriyama and whomever I like came across. And after a while I realized, you know, replicating an art style is hard, and also it's not fun, you know? At least for me it's not. And I've come to the realization that for me, at least, art is about having fun. I want to be drawing and think to myself, fuck yeah, this is awesome, you know? This is my character, this is whomever, and this character looks fucking dope. And I'm doing this, and I'm happy about it. But when I'm trying to replicate a style, it's like, that's not in my head at all, because I'm busy thinking about other things. It's like, this artist does it this way, so I gotta do it this way, but I can't really do that way, so what can I do that makes it closer, you know? Just like way too technical. I can't focus on how much I love drawing, because it's not in my hand at the time, you know?
Right.
So yeah, the largely the switch of her design is just comes down to me just the way I naturally draw is just like I tend to squish things down a bit, and I also just like every iteration that I've done of her, the younger she looks, the more I like her. So like that might sound weird, but what I mean is like what I mean is when I drew her, the last redraw I did of her, she looked a lot older, and like to me she looked like she was probably in like her 30s or 40s, you know? Like that's late stage Xiira, where she's like she's probably like a mom at this point, you know? She's, you know, she's already done her journey. She's just a fucking badass hanging out. And that's not appealing to me, because I'm not just a badass who's hanging out. You know? Yeah. Like the reason why the younger Xiira looks the more appealing she is to me isn't because I'm attracted to it. It's because in my mind, she's still got so much left to do. She's still got a journey to go on. And like it appeals to me because I feel like I've still got a journey to go on, you know? And I still haven't told her story. Like, I tried to do it a while back when I tried to start the webcomic, but like I never really told her story, so nobody really, like, seeing her as an adult doesn't mean anything to anybody. It just means something to me. And that meaning is vapid because it's not what I wanted. You know? Like, because I didn't get to experience her journey. I know the journey that I want her to have, but she hasn't experienced it. You know?
Yeah, I get you. So, in terms of experiencing a journey, what would be the type of... That's an awkward way to phrase that. How would this journey progress? I know you had a webcomic that you were trying to start, and that didn't really go anywhere. Is it just a lack of trying or a lack of motivation to do it?
The webcomic thing was largely a lack of confidence. For some reason, I thought that when I started it, it'd get a lot more attention than it did. Is foolish because I had a weird idea of how online content worked. But yeah, the story and the journey that I wanted to tell for her was supposed to be a story of like her, like, the expectations of like what you think she'd be like, contrasted with what she's really like, and then the expectations of her being this, like, you know, child of essentially the devil. And that actually is that was the subtitle of the webcomic, was it was like Dragon Ball X, and the X stood for Xiira. Daughter of the Devil was the subtitle. And the idea that I had was I was going to play with the idea that, like, because she's basically the daughter of the devil, you would assume her to be evil in some way. And I was going to, like, play with that, where, like, you know, where she'd be evil at times, but then, like, you know, she'd have like a flicker of like, oh, like she's actually a person, you know, like she's not just generically evil. There's something going on, you know. She's got a personality that's, you know, that goes outside of the bounds of that whole arbitrary assignment of you know, morality. Right. And I initially had like the idea of her having like a team that she builds after a while, where, you know, because like I was playing a lot of Xenoverse at the time myself, and I figured it would make sense for her to be kind of like a like traveling through time, where because like she's the daughter of Dabura, so naturally that makes Toa from Xenoverse her aunt, which means that, like, you know, she has a connection to the time traveling stuff, and, you know, she'd have to like go against her her aunt for the sake of, you know, the universe or what have you, whatever stakes I would go for.
The normal Dragon Ball, everything is going to die unless, you know, this specific group of people.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't gonna. I think I have a bit more faith in myself than to assume that I would go so generic. I think my idea was probably to like set up the stakes as being really big, but end up focusing more on like the individuals, you know, where like the stakes for the world are pretty freaking big, but it's like it's secondary to the personal struggles of the characters, you know. And you know, I had the idea that she'd get like a team, and the team would be like all fucking evil people, you know, to kind of like to further the idea that, you know, she's an evil character and these characters are evil, and she's like it's just, so it was supposed to further the concept that she's a bad person, you know. But you know, at the end of the day, you know, they're fighting for, you know, what they believe in.
Right. And do you think that idea has changed at all over the last couple of years?
Oh no, she's
multiple. No,
she's still like, in my mind, she's still that same character where like she's got that like punk attitude to her, but she's got that flicker of good, you know. Like there's more to her than meets the eye. Transformers.
All right. And do you think Zarya will be a recurring character throughout your time as an artist?
Oh, I guarantee it. She's my very first OC. I guarantee that I'm gonna bring her back. She's gonna come back. I hope eventually that I'll get a chance to write a webcomic for her. And like, I'll definitely have to like do something either different than what I just said, or do it in a way that really is something that people won't just go, oh, this is lame, because they already knew it was gonna happen because they watched this, you know. But yeah, like I do want to eventually, you know, do a webcomic. If I ever have the time, or if I ever have like the money to just commission somebody to do it for me. That would be the life.
Way to do it.
That would be the life. Just commissioning someone to do it. Like, hey, here's my characters. I'm gonna write you a script. Now draw. Ironically, that was actually a thing that I almost did with somebody from the Xenoverse community, but they ended up being too busy or not really inspired to do it. Like it was part of like a trade thing where like I'd put his OC in the story, and it would they'd kind of like become an integral part of it, you know, because I figured that's a fair trade, right? Like if he's gonna be writing, or if he's gonna be drawing it and I'm gonna be writing the story, his own creation should be like front and center with mine, right? So if we got like somehow famous off of it, you know, his characters would receive the same admiration as mine, right? But that didn't work out because either he was too unmotivated or he was too busy. Like, you know, people have lives, you know. I don't remember how how we ended it. I'd like to think that we ended on decent terms, but we haven't really spoken since. So I don't know if I said something rude or if he's just not interested in keeping in contact.
Who knows?
Yeah.
So besides DBZ, which is, you know, a main obvious influence, is there anything else that you pull a lot from in terms of maybe not on the same level, but close to the same level as DBZ? Shows, anime, movie, things of that nature?
I honestly, I don't really think so. Like, Dragon Ball Z probably has the most influence over, like, my art and, like, kind of how I live my life, in a way.
Okay.
Like, that sounds weird to say, but, like, what I mean is, like, there's certain, like, values where it's, like, I don't know, like, the feeling of like, if something fucking bad were to happen, you know, it's like, I don't know, I feel like I'd be okay, you know? That's probably fucking weird as fuck to say. But, like, I don't know. Dragon Ball Z has, like, a very, like, soft spot in my heart, you know? Mm-hmm. And, like, inspiration-wise, I just take things like... Dragon Ball Z is probably, like, my biggest inspiration, despite its massive glaring flaws. But, like, the only other thing is, like, I just take inspiration from everything, right? Mm-hmm. Like, nothing really comes to my mind other than Dragon Ball because it's just, like, I don't actively think about those things, you know?
Right.
Like, there's other artists that I like that I'll take inspiration from. There's, you know, shows that I might watch that I take inspiration from. Like, I think one of the character, like, because, like, you know, I obviously take inspiration from certain characters, because, you know, but, like, design-wise, one of the for my character Almira, who I can toss artwork on the screen right now.
Editor's note.
Yeah. For Almira, there was a couple of inspirations for her. The main one being Raven from Teen Titans and Alucard from Hellsing. That's like, I used to take inspiration like that, where it's just like basically just like a character, like two characters combined, and then like additional information, you know, to make them more unique. But like that's just in terms of like the design of the character. Character-wise, Almira's, I guess she's kind of like Raven, maybe a little bit. But yeah, like I take inspiration from a lot of things, and it's usually things that like either I really love, or I, you know, or I just like, I see it and I'm like, oh, that's really cool, you know? Mm-hmm. And I steal it. It's mine now.
Jesus. So I've seen a couple other characters from you Is there anyone particular that sits at the same kind of like status as Zarya? Zarya?
As
I
Xiira?
don't know. Zira, yeah.
Um,
In terms of like, if you had to draw one character, you wouldn't mind if it was this character.
like for the rest of my life, drawing that one character, I wouldn't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Well, Almira is a really, like, I think I nailed her design. Like, the first iteration of her was near perfect. It was just that, like, whenever I designed her, I had this, like, stupid fucking, like, my brain was being way too pervy. So, when I redesigned her later on, I only changed one thing. And it made her look fucking amazing. So I wouldn't mind drawing her for the rest of my life. Also, Meta-chan, obviously. The design for her, there's a lot of thought and effort that went into the design of Meta-chan.
Mm-hmm.
So much so that, like, yeah, when I redesigned her, I had other inspirations that I added on top. Like, I'm sure if you looked and you were lucky, you could find a piece of art that you think, huh, that shirt kind of looks like Meta-chan's shirt. You're probably right. It's probably my inspiration, because I was on Pinterest. This is a fucking tangent here. I was on Pinterest because I just go on Pinterest sometimes just to find inspiration. And I was just looking, and I saw this shirt design, and I was like, holy fuck, that looks fucking gorgeous. And I was like, because when I went to redesign Meta-chan, I didn't go into it thinking this is going to be her new design. I was thinking of it like this is going to be a meme thing. Like, I'm going to make her look like really I'm not going to finish that sentence.
Indecent.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a joke. But then I started the redesign, and I got into it, and I got to a certain point, and I literally thought to myself, this is way better. Like, she looks fucking amazing, you know? And then I just rolled it back, pulled back all the memery from it, and was like, okay, I'm just going for it. Like, this is it now.
Fair enough.
So yeah,
that was a wild tangent you went on there, Jesus.
Yeah, yeah. So to answer your question, I'd draw Almira or Meta-chan or Xiira.
Mm-hmm. And obviously, Meta-chan is the avatar you quote unquote project yourself through. But I can't help but notice in all of your art, especially ones of Xiira, there's definitely hints. Is that just me being weird, or
Like hints of myself in them?
Yeah.
No. I think you'd find with like any artist who has to design a character or is designing an OC and actually putting like effort into it, the only way to make a good OC, in my opinion, is you have to put a bit of yourself in it. Like, there's a stigma where it's like, you know, self-insert, blah blah blah. But like, if you're not making the character, if you don't give that character like something from you, it won't feel real, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Like, it won't feel like an actual character. It'll feel like how do I describe it? It feels like a like when you read it something and you're like, clearly this person doesn't know how to write a character, you know? That's that feeling, you know? where it's like this isn't right, you know? You know it's not right, and that's because that character lacks a sense of humanity. And you can achieve that level of humanity by just putting a drop of yourself into it. So with all my characters, I do that. I put like a little droplet of me in every single character, you know?
Hmm. Have you ever felt like you've gone too far on certain characters?
Not really. Like Xiira, I think I went a little bit too far with, but I've since, you know, I've you know, changed her a lot over the years. So I think she's fine at this point.
Fair enough. And how many characters do you think you've either drawn or conceptualized in some sort of way over the years?
That is a terrifying question, because the answer is it's got to be in deep in the double digits, possibly triple digits. I've conceived of so many characters that I couldn't even begin to try and list them off. Like, I have so many ideas that I don't know. I like half the characters I design are like, or all the characters I've designed are like a fragment, like just a tiny little sliver of all the characters in my fucking head. All the characters I've designed over the years.
And what dictates what goes on the chopping block in terms of uploading or anything like that, and what gets put out? Obviously, you're gonna put out your best work, so you know nothing like it didn't turn out how I wanted it, but more kind of it probably wouldn't be okay. Is there any sort of does that thought process come up a lot, or is it more a just kind of whatever you want to draw?
I just draw like whenever I have that like inspiration, whenever I feel it, where it's like this character is like in my heart today, you know? Like I don't know how to describe it. It's like that character is like in my fucking soul, just going like, "Hey, bring me to life now, please." I don't really. There's no real like thing that like. There's no real process for me. It's just like I have the idea and I execute it, you know? So like Xiira, she's gotten the most attention from me, this being her 6th redesign, because she means so much to me that every time I've designed her and I felt unsatisfied, I can't help but come back to it and be like, I need to do this right. And every time I failed. Until this time. I think I nailed it this time. I put like every bit of what I've learned over the years into practice with this one. I also miss some stuff that every time I see it, I try and ignore. Because if I don't, I'll go insane and I'll be like, I gotta fix it.
So that brings up an interesting question, because you've stated that like this is such a big part of what you consider your identity. What happens to her once you've told the story? Say you have the opportunity to make this webcomic and put it out there, and you do a bunch of art, and she becomes kind of a staple. What happens once this character becomes through its life cycle, in a sense? You know what I mean?
Yeah, like when
you've drawn her 100 times, you've done all sorts of different things. You've taken it to the logical extremes on both ends. What kind of happens? Does a new character take that place, or do you continue rolling with the old character?
I think I'd probably still draw her, but like I wouldn't. I'd probably just draw her like living just a fucking happy life. Just like if she had kids, I'd draw her with her kids. You know, if she, you know, had a husbando, I'd draw her with her husbando. You know.
Mm-hmm.
I would say that like maybe she'd end up with another woman, but it's not gonna happen. I have nothing against lesbians. It's just that Xiira is basically me. So, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not attracted to women, so she wouldn't be.
Woo, man, that's not gonna come back to bite you in the ass, is it?
I mean, I'm just being honest. It's just like, I've already stated that she's basically me. Like, I've put like, she was my first OC, right? So, her being a lot like me, I think, is excusable. Yeah. I have pulled it back a lot. She was a lot more like me when I first designed her. When I first like conceptualized her, she was so much more like me, but I've pulled her way back. She's just got the hints of me. Mm-hmm. One of those things that she's kept is just the heterosexual part, and I'll probably draw a lesbian at some point. I probably have, I think. I've definitely drawn some. Like, I have a friend who I've drawn my friends OCs before, and one of them was a lesbian. So it's not like I don't draw lesbians. It's just that like
you're putting so much detail into this, and I don't know.
I feel the urge to defend myself because I feel like an asshole when I'm saying this.
It's fine. I don't think anybody.
This is the internet. People care. People are gonna get mad at me.
They'll get over it.
Maybe. We'll see. And if in a few years people haven't gotten over this, I'm gonna tell them to blame you. I'll be like, it's White's fault. Blame White.
White's fault, isn't it?
White didn't let me defend myself properly.
No. But I know you've told me, at least recently, that you don't like doing commissions. Is there something akin to that? Do you think that'll change in the future?
I hope it'll change, because my whole mentality going into commissions is just that, like, it feels heartless to me. It doesn't have the same value to me as drawing something that I have a passion for. Mm-hmm. And that that lack of passion, it creeps into the art, you know? Like, the quality suffers. And I don't feel like if somebody's gonna pay me money for me to draw them something, it should be something that is worth paying for, you know?
Right. Yeah.
And the few times I have done commissions, it hasn't, as far as I'm concerned, it wasn't worth paying for. You know? Like,
well,
it just...
The artist is always going to critique themselves worse than the person buying it, so, you know.
Maybe, but I don't know. I was at a level of skill, too, back then that didn't, you know, lend itself to commission work, because what I was putting out was low quality to begin with. Mm-hmm. And then throw on top of that, like, my anxiety and the fact that, like, what I was giving them was even worse because I didn't have the passion going into it, you know?
Yeah.
It's I think it's just logical of me to think like this because I, you know, if you're paying for it, it should be some of my best work. And like I get this like opinion of that from like whenever I got a commission when I was, you know, before I started drawing again. The commission that I ordered is literally the reason why I started drawing again, because what ended up happening was I got this artist to draw it, and it was so low quality. I literally thought to myself, I can do better. And look at me now.
Yeah, look at you now. So, okay. But you're not totally against doing commissions, is what I'm hearing. It's one of those things of you didn't think you're at a skill level.
Yeah, if I find that I think that I can do it and do it justice, I might do it at some point. But like the commission work is hit or miss for me. I guess you never miss. But like,
Damn it! I told myself I was gonna make that joke, but I did it anyway.
But like, it's the thing about doing commissions is that you know, you can easily get overwhelmed. You know, and I don't. I hate that feeling of being overwhelmed, and like whenever I did commissions, like that happened to me like very like quickly, where like I was just doing commissions for like a friend of mine, and then he was like, hey, I have a friend who's looking to purchase some art, you know, would you be willing to do some commissions for them? And I was like, I'm not sure. And he's like, they're willing to pay you like fucking like $200. And I was like, Jesus Christ, okay. And they're like, yeah, I'd like 7 pieces of art, please. And I was like, Jesus Christ, what? And then my friend added on to that by commissioning more, and it just got so overwhelming. And like I had this like feeling that I had to deliver them fast, you know. And don't worry about that, it's gonna go for like 4 minutes. So yeah, so I just commissions, they stressed me the fuck out, you know.
Yeah. Well, hopefully you'll get to a spot where you're not like losing your mind about it. But
yeah, if I ever do commissions, it'll be like one at a time. Like if I say that commissions are open, that means only one person's getting something. And you better come to me with a fucking bomb ass fucking idea, because if I don't like it, I'm probably not gonna draw it well.
yeah, never know. But we probably should be winding this down maybe a little bit. Yeah,
we got like 3 minutes.
We should probably start winding this down.
We got like 3 minutes.
We got like 3 minutes, and we talked for 7. But no, we obviously you're around the net. This is going up on YouTube anyway. So links probably down in description. Yes, no, maybe.
Yeah. So there'll be a link to my DeviantArt account. There'll be a link to my Twitch if you want to watch me streaming. There'll be a link to White's Twitch if you want to watch him stream.
Nobody wants to do that.
Oh, you never know.
Nobody wants to sit there and watch some dumbass jump at something that's not supposed to be scary.
Hey, that's why people watch like gameplays. They want to see people do stupid shit. There'll probably be also a link to the music that was probably playing in the background if I remember to edit that in. And I think that might be it.
Fair enough. All right.
there'll be a link to this picture specifically in the description. Yeah, is there anything you wanted to say before we ended it?
Not really, to be honest. Just stick around. Meta will definitely still be here. I don't know if I will be. That's always up in the air, huh?
Yeah. Remember, guys. As much as this is annoying as fuck, please subscribe, like, fucking comment, all that fucking dumb YouTube shit. Because if you don't, I'll be sad. Because I have like what, like seven subscribers, something like that, like maybe 14. I'm not a big YouTuber, so support, you know.
Jesus, you want to milk it a little bit more?
Support me, please. Hey, I don't have I have a Patreon, but it's not even up yet, so I'm not shilling that hard yet.
Goodness. Alrighty, well, I guess it would be our time to mosey on out of here. So
yeah, bye.
bye.